We're back with part 2 of the Melbourne Pro Punters Panel, and we've got in touch with NASA, and they have come back with roughly how big a length is.
It's this big.
And we're still working. We've got their calculations, and now we're going to decide.
It was sent in Braille.
So just before we kick off, at RT Ralphie,
Yes.
grab racetrack Ralphie stuff. They're the one to follow. You get all pots of stuff there, and also Saturday week's the big $25,000 Magic Millions tournament for top better. So they're always good fun, the big tournaments. So that's coming up. So that's a little bit of housekeeping, gentlemen. So
Hey, so have you read your book yet? Because I haven't read it either. You've got a lot of work on it. And young Alfred.
And here's a great story for you, Ralph. It's funny you mentioned that. Last evening I went round to my mum's house for dinner. We made dinner and took it around there. And my youngest brother Billy asked me what I wanted for Christmas a couple of weeks before, and I said that's what I wanted.
Sorry, the book is The Undoing Project by Michael Moneyball Lewis about Daniel Kahneman and someone else.
So it comes Christmas Day, Bill goes, mate, I haven't got the book yet, it hasn't come in. I said, no, sweet, no dramas, let me know when you get it. Saw Billy last night, he comes up and shows me this email saying, it was from Angus and Robertson, and all it said was, we have refunded your money. No explanation as to why, no explanation as to where the book is, it's just you've got your money back. That's all we're going to enter into.
So, I was listening to a podcast with Daniel Kahneman, who's on Bloomberg Radio, Masters of Business, it's called. So if you're looking for a podcast, goes for 2 hours. I was driving back from Lake Central, sorry, Lake Central, it's great. There's a punting thing. I bet you guys go the same way. Do you guys ever get people look at you who are in a group and you're chatting with, but they're not punters, and they look at you sideways like, how, what that could possibly be of interest to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I get that from my wife.
So Daniel Kahneman's got all different ways of using logic and the way the brain works, and there's a thing called loss aversion.
Yep.
You always should be aversion to loss, but it's for a different reason. So he said there's a proven dynamic, heads or tails spin. Someone says to you, one spin only, you get the call.
Yep.
If you're wrong, you lose $100, and if you're right, you get $180. Would you take it?
How long are we here for? Because if it's only one spin, like it wouldn't matter to me whether it was 1 or a million, I'm doing it.
Oh, we'll get that. Would you take that?
I'd like a million spins, but yeah, I was kept taking the bet.
Yeah, take it.
So lose 100,
Lose 100 or win 180.
very favourable odds.
That's it. Most people would not take the bet. Win 180. Sorry, yeah.
To win it,
Win 180 or lose 100.
Yeah.
On an even
money chance.
Most people, not us, wouldn't take the bet because of loss aversion. If you say to them, we're going to do it 10 times, most people would. Because they can work out, well, over 10 spins, there's a fair chance I'll finish in front. The reason why traders, so he's talking about the economic side, I'm not going to talk about horse, but it's the same dynamics. The reason why we would is because we know there'll be other bets to come. You know what I mean? So there are going to be other, so that even though you might lose this bet, you know if on a long-term basis, you have to take those opportunities when they occur.
Correct.
Wings in the contemplate, like caviar's daughter, Serta, $1.50 narrative when it opens.
Well,
we'll get to this when I get to. So you will have to, whereas the average person with no interest in betting looks at that and goes, well, I don't want to risk $100 even though I'm not going to $180 because this is my only bet I'm going to have. So the reason why punters and traders have a different mindset.
and I think, well, this
Why the average person...
I think that the key question for our audience is, because they're all punters, so they'd all take the bet, is what percentage of your bank do you have on that bet? And
no, that's your only option. You can have $100, that's it. So in other words, yes, $100 is different to different people, but in general, there's $100. We're going to survey everyone, and most people wouldn't take it.
Look, there's a couple of little points that I'd sort of follow up here, and this is more the psychology of the game. I'd say there's a difference between loss aversion and risk aversion. Like I'm risk averse. I treat every dollar as a prisoner. And you have to be like that in the game, don't you, Pods? Like, you've got to be like that. And the other thing is the one thing that the punters have a handle on that the people who are loss averse don't have is variance. We're happy to cop that bet because we see the upside. Because we have a handle on variance. You know you're going to have days like yesterday, Pods, where we have a filthy run of good price placings. But you know that it's just variance and it'll settle back down. And that's why, like, I love a bad beat story as much as the next bloke, but you have to just learn to get on with it because it's just variance. And
so the key part of Ralph's question is it your last 100? Because if it's the last 100 I've got and you offer me that opportunity, I wouldn't have to bet. That's right. Okay, because it's overbetting the edge in that opportunity. Right? So, but if you've got a bank of 10,000 and you can have 100 on that, no problem.
And Daniel Kahneman said that the only reason you would logically not have it is if you're on your deathbed. Because if you're on your deathbed, that's your last bet.
There's no upside, yeah.
And it's by extension where the things that make me fucking spew more than anything in society is those pieces of shit so-called financial experts.
Earmuffs up.
He's under the age of being able to understand. Those pieces of shit who fraudulently masquerade themselves as financial experts who take pensioners' money and then put it in high-risk stocks. When that's the time where you just shut up shop and you say,
yeah, all they need is a steady income to ride out what's left.
Yeah. So there's a chapter in Fortune's Formula, which is one of my favourite books, it's about the Kelly criteria, William Pound's name. And it discusses the inevitability of wiping out your bank if you overbet the end. So there is just so you've got $1,000 and that opportunity is offered, there's a point at, I'm not just saying it was just a $100 bet, but it was the odds, right? So you're offered 280 about tails, right?
Yeah.
You're offered 280 about tails. Up to a certain point, it's a very profitable proposition if you can keep having it over and over again. But at a certain point, if you allocate too much of your bank to that bet, even though you're getting 280 about that opportunity, if you overbet that edge too consistently, you will wipe out your bank.
That's a bell curve type situation.
So it might be, in that situation, it's probably, I would say, around about 40%, right? So if it might even be in the 30s, because your chance of winning is actually 50%, and then the return is 1.8 to 1, right? So when you put those numbers into a Kelly criteria, it'll tell you the exact percentage, but that's why in race you have to be very careful not to consistently overbet whatever edge you've got.
To give punters a rough idea, like no one ever bets full Kelly, but on sport, I'm generally around in between a quarter and a fifth, and then for racing it's less than that, just because there's of what the full Kelly would be. So it's not that hard to find the Kelly criterion. Like the bigger the overlay, the bigger your bet should be. But as Pot said, it gets to a point where if you find something that you've marked evens that's $7, well, there's something amiss here. The problem with full Kelly is that will then tell you to have your entire bank on it, where more than likely you've made the error in pricing it at evens. It's not an even money shot.
I'll never tell you to have your whole bank on it unless it's a 100% chance of winning.
Yeah.
So unless it's an actual $1 chance.
Okay.
Like a black caviar type situation, so when the $1.01 it's $1, and then it's something over that, then it says have your whole bank. But if there's any probability of it not being a winning proposition, I won't recommend using your full bank, but it'll be a large percentage.
It'd be big enough to essentially after 2 or 3 bets wipe you out.
You'll be betting in cents before you know it. So
welcome aboard.
The thing is, with a coin toss, we know the outcome's 50-50. But even if you mark something even money, that's just your opinion. That's just an assessment. It doesn't actually mean that it's a genuine thing. So that's why you have to be, as Juppy says, be careful. So on Juppy's point about just being really mean with your money and managing your bank well, and not giving any opportunities to the people that we're competing against to try and make a profit out of racing. I just want to say to my punters that I think last year I was a little bit loose with some of that. I probably betted a few too many races, so I've undertaken a review to really smooth that process out and target specific races. I was really happy with the set I put out at Sandown yesterday, betting in 5 races, and unfortunately the results didn't fall our way. But if we keep doing that, it'll work out fine. But the point is, one of my number one goals for the whole of this year is to only bet in races where I've identified an edge, where I know what the edge is, and that I feel like anyone that wins money off us has absolutely earned it.
Yeah.
And we're not going to give them a hope, because the reality of the situation is we're competing in a market with all these big teams.
Yeah.
It's cutthroat, it's incredibly competitive, and if you give away one fraction of your bank to them, they'll gobble them up like Pac-Man. So we're going to be very tough this year, and we're not going to be victims to these big teams.
I read a good article on the Australia, it was from the Wall Street Journal. Actually reminded me of that. Like I think the first time ever I've had since I started my service, I had 4 losing City Saturdays, or Saturday meetings because of the New Year's Day and Boxing Day. And fortunately bounced me again. So, but I'm going to actually send out an email going through. There's one of the things you have to do, and you're saying the same thing. You've got to be not just your harshest critic. That's a bit of a naff statement, I think. I think what you're going to say is, well, my method's right or wrong here, and what could I have done differently? But also, did I do anything wrong? You know, so in the case of Victor Domino, for instance, well, maybe I overestimated the kid, and for the rest of that weekend I ignored him.
Yeah.
Gapped him in the market, rightfully so. Also, I get the picture. Well, it didn't pass the vet test. Sorry, it passed the vet test. 16 lengths. Was your criteria wrong, or did the horse not turn up? And that's what, what I'm saying for like an X-weight plate. And there are going to be races where you think, well, fight on points, we get that much, I'll win in the race.
Yeah.
And you would have.
I'm just saying, in that,
like yesterday, there was good days was yesterday. You know that. You saw the right horses.
well, I actually backed the Victor Domino as well, right? And even though the kid rode, I knew the kid was riding it, so I took that into account when I assessed the odds and made a prediction on the probability. If they run that race 10 times, it would win the race an equal amount of times as Phil Champagne does, right? Yes. It would probably win an equal amount of times, right? I think Phil Champagne started 6-4, and Victor Domino, well, certainly 420 was bet, because that's the price. I can't remember what the price started. So, well, I'm saying that in that scenario, backing Victor Domino is a profitable outcome bet. Like, I'm satisfied with that race. I have no issues with it whatsoever.
So when you do proper self-analysis and you get our stuff, at least you know that we're trying hard to so that's part of it. Sometimes you have to say, well, my methods were okay. I just didn't.
Yeah, that's true. And
that's what it is.
The alternative example is the races I'll be avoiding for this year is last week at Flemington. What day was that? That's New Year's Day.
Sunday.
In the last race, we backed 3 horses, Last Special, Sanaya and La Florette. They were all likely to be in the back half of the map. I didn't anticipate that Domino Vitale would bounce back as strongly as she did, but it was, even if they were ridden better and the circumstances that ended up happening in that race didn't happen, it wasn't a high percentage play. It was a race where I made myself an easy target by backing 3 back markers. So for the rest of the year I'll be avoiding situations like that. They won't be appearing on the betting plan.
So tell me, because Paddy was one of the race on the tour, you said Special was on Lola, and I ended up Lola after it was La Florette, and I accepted La Florette to be back, but I accepted it was $10. Yeah. The way the jockey rode it, and yes, I've got a little checker, gave the horse no mathematical chance. I know it's a bit of a continuity. Surely stewards have to say, mate, that isn't substantial. You have no mention in the report. It's just gone with it.
I can't say anything about it. I don't know. It's just it's that point I was making before, Ralphie. I'm not going to spend much time worrying about those 60 more. He's an inexperienced kid that hasn't ridden a lot at Flemington. To me, his ride looked like an inexperienced ride. Some of the duds I understand Flemington. I can't really explain what Froggy was doing on Sanaya. But that's that stable. Back to last from my wide
draw. So let me give you another one then for the same day. Did you like Astromania?
No, Scared Mania.
Scared Mania?
I did back it. It was a bit wary. I felt like she would come back with a peak run first up, and she'd come a bit off that second up, and there was a chance she was going to fall off a cliff. And I think that's why the big teams gapped up. I don't think it was about them going to the fence and the inside draw. Maybe that fed into it a little bit. And you know, I'm still not convinced that the inside was a real disadvantage there last Saturday. I don't think it was, but it doesn't look good.
When it's gapped,
it doesn't look good. That's true.
If there's a market data room, I'm not sure if it's still open, but if there's a data room and a horse falls out of legs, which effectively wasn't effective, and as I said, I'm going to say, well, righto, barrier one, and I should have taken more notice of Blake or any of those things because I really like it. And the point you just made there, I'm going to factor it in my newsletter, so they say we've got wrong. But surely when a horse is gapped, why do they ask the jockey? No, sorry, it's okay to ask. Well, isn't it up to the stewards to ask the trainer why was that horse so thin or something? Because the trainer would know better than the jockey just gets taken on.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the end, I think the tactics had nothing to do with its run.
That's right.
Because it got beaten by the three horses went inside, and on form, if it had it run up to its first and second runs, it would have been 3 lengths in front of those two horses. And it finished 3 lengths behind them. So the horse obviously didn't present in peak form.
It ran as shit as much.
And that's the part that probably should be interrogated. Equally, Domino Vitale in the last race has gone at least a 2 length career high. And the market seemed to know that was going to happen. I'd like that to be explained to me. You know, but as I said before, these things aren't going to be explained to us. Us asking the questions aren't really going to help, so I'm not going to worry about it.
Chuppy loves narrative more than most. Very nice. Black Caviar's daughter had all that apart.
Late $1.90 the day before.
Merry Christmas to Chuppy.
Got more out of it at 2:30 day off. The thing that I couldn't understand with that is though, if it was, and like I'm not a horse trainer, I don't claim to be. I can lift heavy things and I can lead them around if I need to, but that's about it. If I was in charge of it, I'm not sure if picking a straight race on New Year's Day would be where I would be heading to first. I mean, let's face it, if you can't find a weak maiden at this time of year, you're not trying. There's a million of them. So I don't know why he just didn't come back a little bit. I don't know whether he just wanted to release the pressure a little bit by getting it. Yeah, but like Limestone, I think Limestone's a nice horse, and I backed it. We were lucky. Potts tipped it at and it took $7 or something. So it was a big winning race for me. But yeah, it just seemed to be set. If you were trying to keep Bambi intact, I'm not sure whether up the straight first time out would be where I'd be heading.
Yeah, it's an unusual situation, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like I know what you're saying, but there was all the romance of that's where Black Caviar made her debut, and high profile, it almost had to be at Flemington. So
she could be a Birmingham.
No, she went to Flemington. Off a.
Do you know the story about the Flemington or Hamilton?
And they went to Hamilton, Flemington instead of Hamilton.
Yeah, there was Set for Fame.
Yeah.
And her were going similarly. And the Hamilton race was 1100 foot. Yeah. And Luke saw 1100, let's see her out of it. I'll just run her up the straight and I'll send for Fame to Hamilton. And Hamilton, Set for Fame wins by 7 lengths. And Luke was watching the race with Lee Friedman. And Freddie goes, that one goes right, Luke. He said, the one the next one goes better. And I was her first day.
She started on, so but I was actually, in a way, sort of, I'm not quite sure what the right word is, encouraged, or I thought the market treated that race really well at the end. I mean, she was easy to mark, sort of a favourite.
Yeah.
She had 2 dropouts at Flemington. She's gone particularly well. She's obviously got talent. She'll win races. No risk in the world about that. And Limestone had gone well. Moody Valley. He was a clear second pick, no doubt about it. And he got into the right price.
Yeah.
And she almost got out to, pretty much
right price. Yeah.
Which was probably a 7-4 chance really in the end. And,
is there a 2-year-old? You guys might know because I didn't pay that much attention to Mooney Valley on New Year's Eve. Was there a 2-year-old race at Mooney Valley?
Yeah, sure.
Would she have won that if she'd been in that?
Well, the stable one goes well. Is a nice horse, Chula. So maybe not. Would have been competitive.
And would she have been like? Oh, just whether she would have been better suited there.
I would say.
Yeah, she will be now. She'll go to a turn next start for sure. She's obviously a nimble filly that's really good out of the gates.
Hazy's.
And they lost their advantage by not having a turn to get around that.
I say this with zero disrespect.
Yeah.
But Hazy's very commercial as happening. In fact, so I say with respect. I think he would have said, well, this one's got a bit of city ability, going to get all the hype in the world. Let's go to New Year's Day. We'll get
whatever will be, will be.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And the thing is, that race was quite quick. The run will have done her the world of good. She'll be significantly better for it wherever she goes next start. It'll probably be around a bend. She'll have a good fitness base because she's running a straight race, which really helps them. Even first up, second prep, she'll be fine. That will have done her a lot of good. So.
The only real letdown was where were the Hong Kong buyers off the jump outs? Where are you?
Well, not for sale jumping.
Hey, speaking of something you just touched on. So, a month ago there was this blog about the straight track bias. I think there's two versions of bias in general. One is the unexpected bias. So I've done all the work based on this and this. But then I reckon there's advantages. So if you watch Mooney Valley with rail out 7 and you don't back leaders, it's your own stupid fault. If you go to a normal Flemington fence on track,
or a dry Caulfield?
No, well, I was going with the straight track. To me, I think the topography of Flemington says there should be a natural advantage of the way lane runners in the rails through.
Yeah.
Probably a fair generalisation.
No, it's more subtle than that, Ralphie. Because the problem is, why I'm not just going to say yes, is the biggest factor in straight racing in Flemington is wind.
So what I'm saying is it's not necessarily the track, but what I'm saying is generally the outside of the vision.
I think the wind last week, if the outside was quicker, which it probably was by about 2 lengths, it was the wind. Where it was marginally from the south. So
where I'm going with this is that people like us act to see if we can learn things. A month ago there was a big blow up about the straight, where all of a sudden for the first time ever apparently
Big blow up. It came from.
That's your take. What I'm saying, because this is relating to excuses that we've heard forever down the straight. The horse wasn't suited down the straight. Could I assure you, because I look at these things, how often the excuse is given and didn't handle the straight, and then the next start they run a shit at Caulfield in the valley. In actual fact, what I'm saying is, in general, it's not that it didn't handle the straight, it's just no fucking way. Would that be fair?
Yeah, it's a very tricky set of circumstances to assess, right? So, for example, let's just use Divine Mr. Artie as an example. There's a horse that flew first up down the straight, and then was pretty plain then on New Year's Day, right? Because in the race that he won first up, there was a solid tempo throughout. He got the best part of the track. All worked for him. It was all great. Then on New Year's Day there, they canted it for the first 200 metres out of the gates, and the horse, it became an 800 metre sprint, which completely left him without a weapon. He was powerless in that race. So you can look at that and you can say, well, does Divine Mr. Artie go down the straight or not? And what's he going to do at Caulfield next start? Who knows? The answer is just because of some of the circumstances that happen at Flemington down the straight, where there's no pressure to find a position.
Yes.
Okay, you get the biggest spread of differing performances. And it's it's the hardest part about assessing those straight races is what are they going to do in the first 200 to 400 metres.
I guess what you're saying, tell me if I'm just if Divine Mr. Artie that turned up first up, turned up at Caulfield or Mooney Valley, he would have won and any of those 3 tracks.
Yeah, he would have been. He would have ran well, for sure.
But if he won at Caulfield or Mooney Valley and then failed in the standings, they could have said, well, I don't think he handled the track, and they would have said, yeah, fair enough. Had nothing to fucking do with it.
Speaking of jump outs, boys.
And by the way, before we can move on from that, I'm gonna break my rule already. How long do I last? All the other jockeys but Noel Callow, anyone, honestly, what was occurring there?
But again, here we go.
Noel Callow rode Odyssey Moon
In the standings.
Have a look at the first
And won by that much.
Try and get hold of some sectional splits punters.
No.
The first 200 metres in that race.
But even better, it's nice and easy for you. Because if you go to the Stewart's Report, have you read the Stewart's Report from New Year's Day?
No.
Trainer Rob Smith was asked about the improved performance of Odyssey Moon. But old Callow said there was not much pace in the race. And Rob Smooth said, well, he worked okay since, and expected him to have improved. The stewards noted that the first 600 was in 36 seconds, while the last 600 was in 33 seconds. In other words, they didn't need to ask any questions to anyone, because their own last sentence explained why Odyssey Moon won. He won by that much, dashing over 600 after being 4 minutes ahead of Ken.
Can I just say that first 600, 36 seconds, right? I haven't checked that, but that sounds right to me. I'm saying that the 200 metres out of the gates, then the next 200, and then the third 200 of that was about 11 seconds or 11.2. The first part of it was like the slowest first 200 metres of a race I've seen. Like it's just incredible. Like what the jockeys were doing is it's just a great. Please explain, and no one asks, no one says, what were you thinking?
And the interesting this is where one of the take away all our frustrations here, but this is one of the things that endlessly fascinating about this caper. It occurred to you that the two Melbourne sprints, feature sprints in the summer, on the standage, were both walking races. Boxing Day did. But the Boxing Day one showed you how backmarkers can be suited by soft tempos, whereas the standage showed you why leaders can be suited by. Eventually, so what I'm saying with that, if you take away all the nuckies, eventually mathematics you get a soft enough work. But for instance, Cavallucci was advanced by the soft speed because it's got a monster
it was about where it would have been. And if it was closer to the leaders.
That's right. If it gets one more bound, it wins, and that's another example. But Lucky Liberty, I don't know about you, but I'm going to happily risk a horse 6 lengths from the lead, running 7th at the 400 metre mark at Caulfield 12 open races every day of the week. But because they walked, it's got this big sprint in it, and Michelle got to the right lane of the track, and that's how I won. How did you see that race?
Well, I backed it, but only saved, like it was a small result for me. And I didn't take $8 in the morning, and it started $5.50, I think. And
yes,
it was from gate 1. Okay, so there's a lot of clues there for punters. And then when you look at the sectional times after in the last 800 of that horse, there are more clues for punters. That horse has gone like a rocket, and he's flying, and would be very hard to beat in any race it competes. You know, if it has another run this prep. I don't know if it is, but...
well, you just reminded me. So that's like a real fundamental of punting is that the Dominic Byrne thing is that you're going to go broke in public opinion because you didn't mind it, so you've saved it, you rated $8 because for these reasons, but then the truckload comes.
Yeah.
Don't bother sticking your prices there.
No.
At that stage, you say, well, let's take into account new information.
Yeah.
We have to reassess your price.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You have to, it's a very good ride from gate 1 from Michelle, so there you go.
And conversely, Chris Simons, I think, gets the why did he think he shouldn't have opened the lead on the Melbourne first?
There were a lot of very odd rides in the race.
There were. Because to me, you didn't have to be very dedicated.
So Michelle rode Lucky Liberty really well from gate 1, but it was made particularly easy for her by whoever rode Grand Rosso and Craig Newitt on the grey horse's Wallace.
Sir Backus.
They just said, out you come, Michelle, we'll just clear the path for you. There you go. Now we'll just...
But also by
coast you home.
Reece McLeod on Dan Zephyr and Chris Simons on Merton Flirt, who have a little bit of technical speed using none of it. The Flirt one's a mystery to me. I can't answer that. It makes him hard to assess on Saturday. Yeah, that's right.
Boys, we'll leave the Burke situation with their runner that was scratched by the stewards until next week because we might have Mr. Kelly with us next week, and we might be able to wind him up about that.
Just quickly, that was the horse was run over the last race in Community Valley at Line 10. Can I? You might know something, you might not. So just take it there if you have to. Could I equate the narrative of them blowing up the lights by the fact that it was allowed to run with the fact that the property goes pretty good?
I do know a little bit more about this, and I think there's a simple solution that would please everyone in the industry.
Yes.
And it'd shut me up and it'd stop me picking on these Cranbourne trainers and the Cranbourne Turf Club if we had no more jump outs and we just made them all official trials. We wouldn't have this issue. But the sad part about it is the boys thought they had one, they thought they were going to get an earn out of it, and now they've shelved themselves.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So,
and as much as you used to fly up to Luxembourg yourself, did you say Dan Kelly's available next week?
he is available next
He
week.
is the black caviar flying up to Luxembourg.
So,
Let's face it, we want to see Dan play.
and the Burks are the trainer of the very great Gift of Music,
That's what I mean.
who's our synthetic horse of the year, who didn't make it into the Unadron Stakes.
We should thank everyone for all the feedback about the Unadron Stakes. And as you said, Potts, we've got some people who know their stuff.
Well, a few horses have raced themselves out of contention. Turkish Arsho, he's out.
And First Light Racing and Simon Zara and Delighted.
There's been a few, like
Pakistan Star.
yeah, he's raced himself out. So a few of them, like we motivated a few of those
We
horses.
did, but
But whoever was our correspondent, that with great foresight, after only 6 runs, nominated Battle Camp. I fell into Battle Camp yesterday. I did back 2 horses in that race, Rich Luck and Battle Camp. Battle Camp is a rock solid contestant in the United States, and well done to that correspondent who nominated that horse. Very good. Good work.
So week ahead, boys, we've got Stoll and Cranbourne tomorrow. We've got Caulfield, both full analysis there. We've got Kilmore, that's where I'll be heading. Dedarang Picnics for their once-a-year meeting on Saturday.
where's
Then,
Alfred going?
Alfred's going to Mornington and Warrnambool simultaneously on Sunday, and then I'm going to Yarra Valley on Tuesday. So there's some good racing ahead. Hopefully there's a few winners too. So
On Warrnambool, follow, is it Graham Hoy?
yes,
Track manager,
yeah.
follow him on Twitter. He puts out spot-on information that's as good as the track that we races on. Always the day before I retweeted, but he's very good with his information.
Yeah, I've seen a few.
And he's a good man.
He just I tell you
Thumbs up,
what,
Graham. Well, that's a real tip.
this could catch on. He's someone who works at the coalface who's interested in punters being interested in the product. That could catch on.
Who knew?
Well, look, in general, all track managers are.
Track managers are.
The track managers love engaging with punters.
Higher level.
And I can't tell you how often I go and talk to the track managers, and they bring up the turnover. So the track managers are actually looking at what the betting result is of the surface they've prepared. You know, and they're as upset as anyone if they do something that results in a lack of betting confidence. 100%.
So, Happy New Year, punters. Hopefully it's a complete fill-up and I can recover what I knocked off in 2016. Cheers. Good luck, punters.